Ah, there it is.
There we go.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spittin' Seeds. This is episode number 6. We're going to be
We're gonna
talking
be
about
talking.
caring for seedlings, and hopefully we get to see some gardens. I got Art Man in the house. How's it going, Art Man?
Hey, everybody. How we doing?
Looks like we got Rocinante in the chat.
Hey, that's cool.
What's up, Rock? Sorry we didn't get to you last time.
Sorry. Uh,
What'd you say?
I said, "What's up, Rock?
Mm,
What's up, Doc?"
I got you.
Anyway.
Oh,
Ah,
man. What's up,
right.
Haas? Yeah, we're getting people coming in now. Artman's in the chat. Oh wait, no, just kidding. What are you smoking on tonight?
See, I got the black cherry cross tonight.
Nice,
Gonna put
nice.
some in the dry vape in a little while too.
Oh, the fancy dry vape.
I really like that thing. It's really
It's
nice.
easy on the lungs, huh?
Oh, yeah, better.
No particulates.
Yeah, yeah, no plant matter, I guess.
Yeah, nothing.
Cellulose and that kind of whatever else is in there.
Yeah, good point. I never think about that stuff that's in the fibers that make up the plant burning and you
Yeah.
know.
Well, all we really want is, well, I don't know. I really couldn't tell where now is all the entourage effect from inside the trichome heads or the stalks or anywhere around them. Does the this fiber material have any use?
I think well, I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I would assume that mostly it's going to be what's in the trichomes, but people do like get health benefits from juicing the leaves and stuff like that. So, there's good stuff in there for you. I just don't know that smoking it makes it better. I think you might have to like ingest it actually.
Uh,
Oh man. Well, it's been what, 6 episodes now we've been doing this. And I feel like I'm starting to get into a groove with it and figure out how things work.
uh,
Uh, yeah, it looks like we got OK Jace 20 jumping in.
cool.
What's
What's up,
happening?
brother?
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Hey, Jace.
What's
So,
going on,
bud,
Art? Hey, not much. What's going on? What I miss?
It was weird
nothing.
the other day. I was walking down the street and I heard this really loud pop and I remembered, oh, Jace is at the chiropractor. I could hear it. I
That's
could
pro.
hear it all the way over here.
Yeah, it's either me popping or me screaming. One of the two.
Oh, God.
How you feeling, man?
Chiropractors.
Man, I gotta admit, I feel like a little bit better. I mean, I didn't expect to feel like fully recovered coming out of it. It's not like a light switch you flip off and on, but I think it helped out. I think I feel a little bit better, so I'm hoping another session or two will get me going.
Yeah. Well, it's the pinched nerves and getting them unpinched means you got to move some stuff around. So at least getting it, more mobile is going to help regardless, I think. Even if it's not like a pop and then you're fine, it's going to contribute towards the recovery.
Yep, I'm ready for it. I'm just tired of being in pain all the time, but it's gradually getting better. So hopefully I'll snap out of it and get back to normal.
I hope
I
so, man.
hate back pain. Well, I've had disc pain, or, I got a bad disc, but it can be really bad. Know that much. Put you down, that's for sure.
It's amazing
Definitely.
how something so small can have such a negative impact on your body and your well-being, like a
Yep.
nerve.
Yep. I've had it shoot down my sciatica and my legs. Man, I'll tell you what, that's some that's a whole new definition of pain. But
Hmm.
luckily my exercise has gotten rid of a lot of mine, so most
Yeah,
of it.
I'm gonna start doing that once I get out of this. I'm gonna try to start exercising more, just be more mobile and better shape. I'm not in terrible
Dumbbells,
shape, but I'm
yep,
not in the
dumbbells
best shape
and
of my life.
TheraBands works out pretty good for me. For me.
Well, that's what they say. Like, well, I guess, when I say they, I mean just in general, like people, when you're talking about how are you going to feel better? How do you, make your mood better? How do you, get yourself healthier? Exercise. Like your body is made to do that shit. So you should probably do
Yep.
that shit. I'm bad
Oh,
about it. I need to do more.
I hate
But
it. I don't
I do what
I
I
don't like
can.
doing it. 3 days a week though. I got to. I have to. I can't. Hell, when I was in my 30s, I couldn't pick up a 12 pack of soda.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh man, I was bad. Well, I had a fresh bulge disc, that shit hurts.
Yep.
That'll
That's where
tear
I
your
was
ass up.
a year ago, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was barely moving, man. I was
yeah.
turning my whole body to look at shit and,
Yeah, and
somebody's,
it's different now, this job I'm in now, because I'm in an office job now, so I'm sitting all the time. Whereas, my last job when I managed that grow, I was very, very active. So I didn't need to exercise then. I got my exercise at work, but now I don't do anything. I just sit around all day. So I need to do something, some type of exercise.
Have you ever
that's,
had physical therapy?
No, I've
Okay, I'm
been,
just curious because they gave me exercise to do. That's all. But
yeah,
it's
I
all
haven't
it's
got,
all it's all for the individual though. They'll tailor it for you for your injury.
yeah, I haven't gotten to that part of it yet. I mean, they haven't prescribed me any physical therapy. I've been trying to just like kind of do my own stretches a little bit, keep it a little bit mobile, put like light pressure onto it, just stretch it out a little bit. That way it's not just sitting there stagnant and getting worse. Cause I think that'll make it worse if you just don't do anything at all with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
And it'll,
I pulled a sled with a hut on it up a long ass hill the other day. I had to take a few breaks, but the next day my back is feeling fine. So I'm doing a lot better than I used to. So
there is hope, Chase, for me and
yes.
you. If Artman can
Well,
do it, we can too.
Hell yeah.
I just want to say welcome to Ice and I. Hey, I'm not trying to ignore you. We were just in the flow.
You're right.
hey, Ice and I.
My
Looks
back
very
pain
green
though.
there.
All right, let's see some green stuff. Yeah, I don't have
Yeah,
much myself, and neither does uh seed person. So
yeah. Unfortunately, oh, we're getting a show. Everybody, get your dollars out. Oh man. Yeah, I figure we give it a minute and let people kind of trickle in and then we can
oh
get into
yeah,
some gardens. But yeah, I brought the topic. I figured if we just want to go maybe in chronological order through an entire grow's worth of advice. Last time we did popping seeds. Now I figured why not jump into taking care of those seeds that you just popped and we can do some seedling talk if that's all right with you guys.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know there's at least one person that's kind of watching this show and growing along with it as a newer grower. So I really like this idea of like, let's just go through all the steps in a grow, as our kind of side topic through each episode. And we can circle back to that when the conversation gets slow or anything like that. So um
Nice.
yeah, seedling care is I think is our topic for today. Um and I think my just one piece of advice, if I could give one piece of advice about seedling care, it would be leave them alone. Do not mother your plant to death because that's something that almost every single new grower does is they are constantly wanting to, can I give it a little bit more water? Did it use up a couple drops? I'll give it a couple drops and I'm gonna adjust it and move the light a little closer. I'll pull the light it's too close. Okay, what's the temperature? Do I need to get a heater out and blast the heat up, or whatever? It's like no, they're fine. Just leave them alone and don't touch them for like a couple days and see what happens. They'll be fine. Like, that's I think the number one reason for seedling deaths is that people get overly enthusiastic and mother them to death, I think.
I think another reason as well is the opposite end, is because we normally keep them in small containers, small plugs. They dry out really, really quickly, and that they don't come back from a dry back in the seedling stage.
Yeah. Well, okay, so don't give them too much and don't give them too little. Stay in the sweet spot.
Right in
Sorry,
the
I was
middle.
smoking for the first time today.
So
That's
we
always
going
the
down?
best one.
Are we going
Yeah,
down the list then? Tell what each of us does, or was that your idea?
No, I was just making conversation about seedlings. But yeah, if you
Okay,
got
well,
something to
I'll tell you what I
contribute,
do though.
hit us, hit us.
Mine is, I do mine in rock wool, so it's a lot different than most of what you guys do.
Okay.
But I use a seedling mix from Jack's at 120 ppm. What is that? 60 EC. And then I do use a seedling mat around 80, heating mat around 80 degrees. But I have pH of 5.5. I used to do it higher, but the uh, the Rockwell cubes have lime in them, and you have to soak them for a while, and they tend to creep up. So since I've gone 5.5, my seedlings survive a lot better. And, well, they're doing pretty good. So anyway, that's what I do.
Awesome. So 5.5 on the rock wool, because
Right on
the
Rockwell though.
pH will
So,
climb on you as it
yeah,
goes.
yeah, because of the lime.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess if we're gonna do it, I'll just run through my general thing. I was talking about starting them in solo cups last episode, and letting them only filling those solo cups about halfway with the media, so that if the plant stretches, you can fill in the rest of it, is how I do it. And so that would be, after it's finished, you see your first set of leaves pop up. Not the cotyledons, because when the seed sprouts, you're going to get two little rounded leaves. Those are the cotyledon leaves. Those are a part of the shell itself. And then it's going to put out a set of single finger leaves, generally speaking. That's the norm. And then you're going to get 3, 5, 7, etc. So when I say like first set of leaves, I'm talking about those finger leaves with the serration. When those come out fully and the second set has started, that's generally when I'll start filling in with the extra media, because I don't think it's going to stretch too much more after it gets that second set of leaves starting to develop, unless you're very underlit, in which case it'll continue to go towards light. Um, and yeah, for watering, honestly, like when I put the bags on the cups, I wait for the seed to pop. I acclimate it by snipping a corner of each corner of the bag. Like the first day I'll cut one corner to let a little bit of fresh air in. The second day I'll snip the second corner to let more fresh air in, as it generally acclimates to the air that's inside the tent, not inside the bag. Um, Once it's acclimated, take the bag off, and then I go by weight for watering them. I can feel the cup. Like I know what a fully saturated cup, solo cup of Pro Mix feels like, how heavy that is. And so I'll let them dry out a little bit, give them a little bit of water, like a shot glass worth maybe at a time, maybe a little bit more. But if you overwater them, you'll stunt them. So that's something that you definitely want to avoid, at least in Pro Mix. If you're in cocoa, you can water them as much as you want, as long as you're using the right nutrient mix. But yep, that would be seedlings. I would say from the seed popping to maybe the first week, the end of the first week to the middle of the second week would be the seedling stage for me. And it's not like a very specific thing, I don't think, of when is the end of the seedling stage and the transition into vegetative growth. Anybody got any like
Yeah, as soon as it's got
clarifications, or what do you
as soon
call
as
it?
it's got one and three fingers on the blades on the leaves, I'd say it's in vegetative growth.
Okay. 3 fingers, it's vegetative growth.
Think
Yeah,
or more than.
and on that note, well, just in general, not for seedlings, but I count that as my first node site, the first multi-leaf set of nodes I get. I don't count, of course, the cotyledon or the single leaf like you were talking about, that first set of multi-leaf. That's what I consider my first node site. So like when I do my topping, that's number one for me. I think some people count the single leaf one, which is fine, but I mean, I don't know. I just felt like it's more vigorous at that point. So like when you go to top, you're not topping off, you're not leaving that single leaf node site down there.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up about, like, even I'm even with like the everybody knows how one of these plants grows. we might reference it differently just because like he's, you know, he counts the second set of leaves that come out as his first node site. I would count it as my second, just because I like to get ahead of things and I want it to be done. You know, I want to say, oh, it's on, I got 6 nodes. It's actually 5 or whatever, you know? So like all these terms, there's no definitive, like these are the words that we use for these things. There's the generally accepted, but it's all very subjective because it's been illegal for a long time and there hasn't been so much like, you know, um it's hard to like consolidate all the information when there's so much information and it's all secret. Like it was all on the very low, you know. So just in the
Yeah,
last,
that's when you
like,
get the territory of like bro science, like what you're talking about, especially for new growers. And
right,
just you'll get like, a fire hose of information coming at you, and it's hard to know which one to absorb. But yeah, just finding what growing style that you're going to do, and find, because grow science doesn't apply, or bro science doesn't apply to everybody. It's applicable to that application. That's why it's grow science. It might, just because it worked well for someone doesn't mean it will work well for you. It has to be the same application.
right.
So yeah, just doing your research and finding out what information is good for you. Just because it didn't work for you doesn't mean it's not bad information. Maybe you just didn't apply it in the right situation.
That is a good point as well. Isonai's got some seedlings. Well,
Yeah,
I guess he would call that vegetative growth at this point, wouldn't you?
yeah. The
Kind of
names, that uh, I don't call these 3-finger ones. I don't really call that vegetative. These ones that they're now putting out, they're going to come out like the classic 5-finger, what we all see on posters and everything else. That doesn't resemble. This is what I don't call this vegetative. I would still call this in the seedling stage. When the next set, when this node comes out, it'll have the full 5-finger blades, and from that point they should increase. But yeah, these I've done this. What you said, these are half filled. If I want to backfill them up, I can do. But they seem quite all right at the moment, or a majority of them. There's a couple in here that had the issues which we see last time, that had these like calcium, or whether it's nutrient burn, whether it was I dried it out too much or whatever. Yeah, I can see a little bit moved up onto this leaf here. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to grab the worst couple of these. I'm just going to repot them up, and that's how I would take care of that. So I'm just going to repot it.
there you go.
And I'll just I'll grab this one from the back as well. That does feel quite light. Yeah, it's got the calcium. I'd say, it looks like classic calcium, whether it's excess or deficient. I reckon it's excess, probably. I don't know, but we'll see but whatever happens, the new pot will sort it out.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it into the fabric pots where I cut the holes in the bottom, so I can just plant them straight on top of my beds. That's what they'll be going into.
Nice. Yeah, see that one on the left especially, but all of them have a pretty woody stem at this point. So you don't need to bury it, but if they're flopping around, you have the option to. So yeah, that's why I do that.
I would still, if I'm now going to put these up, I'm going to take it all the way down to there. Might even just give this a little bit of a scuff, just to, it don't feel woolly. They're nice and stiff because they had a dose of silicone, but that's not woolly. They're still nice and green.
Okay. And see, that's another, thing. I say that's more of a woody because it's a stiffer than the growth above the cotyledons in the stem.
Yeah.
So my term for it is that, but like I was just saying, like all the vernacular is different depending on who you talk to. So
I mean, when you look at this,
and see, that's a stretchy one. I would bury that if it was in my garden. But here's the other thing is I like to have stuff to do all the time. Like I don't want to just sit and stare at my plants. I want to be messing with them. So I'll do that on purpose. I'll fill it halfway so that I have something to do later. I can fill it the rest of the way later when I'm bored and want to mess with my plants.
That one there was germinated at the same time as all the rest. You know, it was late to the party. You
Mhm.
know, it came up about a week later. But like I said, sometimes if you just leave it, just keep it. You know, if you got it covered with cling, what I normally do with mine is just put cling film over the top.
That works too. I like seeing the growth every couple of days. And all these ones turn back up, huh?
Yeah, so I've had another bit. Been stripping, sort of like coming in every day, removing a few leaves if I see like tops trying to come up and it's blocked too much, or if I look like it's getting a little bit too shaded down the bottom. I've done a little bit of tidying up on the lowers as well, just removing these silly branches that I'm thinking are never going to go up to the top. I'll show an example in a minute. That's possible that'll make that up the top, but it looks like a good branch for what I would say for pollination at some point. But like this one here, this little one, it probably will make the top, but it won't ever really do anything. So this, you know, it's ideal to take as a cutting, but I'm not going to be asked with it. So what I'll do is I'll just rip it off and I'll stick it in the soil, just like so. And if that one it takes root and throw a little bud on top of that, I'll be cool with that, but probably won't. I'll probably get probably about a 50-50 whether they root or not. It depends on how much humidity. Because I'm still in veg, the humidity is quite high in here, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. If I really wanted it to survive, I'll just get one of those, you know, like a cut off Coke bottle or whatever, and just stick it over the top, and that should be cool. Won't even bother with a rooting hormone or anything. Oh yeah, but basically they're pretty all spread out. They've all got a good few tops on them each. This pot, I overwatered it quite badly, and as you see, I'm still a little bit flooded down there. But I had to get my siphon on there. It's all wedged up on one end to allow the water to collect at that end, so I can get my pump in there and pump it out. But yeah, I think that's why these ones are suffering. I thought that was a little bit underwatered. I think that was I've overwatered it, and it's. But yeah, I've kind of removed all the cling film off the pots as well because I thought it's getting a little bit too. I've now removed the cling film. It's just perfect. I ain't got to switch my humidifier on. There's enough humidity in here now with all this soil and the exposed pots and everything. So it's just keeping a nice even VPD, pretty much matching the temperature. These are the Franco's lemon cheese. These are looking quite nice. These are. I'm excited about these. Yeah, I was going to reduce the light on them tonight, and you know, wind the light back down, and probably by Sunday I'd be on 12 and 12. But because the show was on, I thought, oh fuck it, I'll just switch them on again. But yeah. Oh, the ones that I put in all that pot together. There they are. Now coming up. I've raised the pot up. So yeah, all up here in the centre.
Nice.
Looking good.
That
No,
was
they've only been in
9.
there.
Was it 9 or 12 that you put in there?
I can't remember, but I stripped one or two out that were looking pretty ropey.
Mhm.
I just like this one here. This one's not looking that great. So I think there's plenty in there. I might as well just rip it out. You know, couple of week.
The moral of the story is however many plants you want, you should probably start more.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt to you know. I like having the ability or the not being stressed about, oh, you know, when a male pops up or something like that, it doesn't matter so much because there's always something to replace it, or there's plenty, or I started more than enough to make sure of that. Yeah, and this is the rest of the Francos. These are what's the level? These are the RS11 cross Super Lemon Haze or the Pink Candies. But there's, like I said, these are struggling, but everything else seems to be all right. I expect this all now to. Hopefully that should all much better here when I flip it. We should get a double on it easy.
Oh, I'm sure. I would flip it now, honestly. Close.
Right. See what I like to do is, you know, we want to see a nice stack.
Mhm.
So I'm going to wait till I've got at least, you know, the nodes are now starting to, you can see the variation on the nodes where they're starting to, they've gone from 2 to now
Mhm.
they're dividing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to wait till they stack up until it's got about 3 or 4, four more, or you know, or double than this sort of what you see there, where it's intermediate nodes. I want to
Yep.
see about 3 or 4 of them before I flip. So I reckon probably, you know, at the end of the week,
Yeah.
it should be good. But that
And you walk your light down, is what you were saying?
I'm going to, but I normally don't. I'm only
Okay.
walking it down because I want to get some more growth on there.
I got you.
And plus I'm gonna see what I've got to hunt the males out as well. So don't want to just be fucking bringing everything sort of like all on top all at once. And oh shit, I just snapped that one off.
It'll be all right.
Just super cropped that one. I'm just gonna have to get a bit of tape on that. Is have to put it's a two-handed situation, so the camera's gone down. But that's what happens when you put these clips on. I've noticed as well. A day or two after you put them on, the plants they go a little bit stiff and brittle. So when you do want to go and try and bend them, they're probably going to snap like that just did.
That's a good tip.
They rage up, then you go, oh, you think, oh, I'm going to bend that back down again, and that's when you're going to, it's going to go crack.
Yeah, they just start lifting up, and in that spot, that's where it's gonna get brittle. So I would maybe try and tie them down further up on the branch or something.
Yeah, I'll just leave it alone for a bit and then try the next fresh bit of green growth. Just let it come up a bit.
Well, Jace, would you like to talk about these beautiful plants that you've got?
Yeah, I was going to touch base on the seedling here that you were talking about.
Hit us with your info.
Well, so I recently tried a new method this time. I was going from paper towel straight into a solo cup, you know, after the radical popped, and then into the cocoa and solo cup. But I think I was overwatering them, to be honest, because I was losing sun. Plus, they're a lot more susceptible to, I think is it fusarium? Um, you know, they damp off too much on the stem, like on the
Yeah.
surface, and they'll kind of rot out.
Yeah.
So what I did was I'm using the root riot plugs now, and I really like those. I think it's a little more forgiving. Plus, I feel like it's easier to water because those things are they feel like a sponge. So like once they're saturated, you can like gently press on them, and like if water's coming out, you know they're saturated, they're good. You don't need to water it. Um, so it kind of prevents you from overwatering. I think that helps. I think it retains moisture better too. And then also another benefit of that I found was it gives you an extra step when you up pot. So if you get those lanky, stretchy seedlings, you can bury it twice, you know, once you up pot to a solo cup and then again into your final pot or wherever. So it really helps you bury them down if you get some seedlings that are really stretching away from you. you know, so you don't have that first node site like 2 foot above the top of your pot. And you're like, oh shit. um, but as far as like feeding though, I follow the feed chart. So like right now I'm running a Pina, and for veg it's 5.5 to 5.8 pH. And I would say like regardless of your nutrient line, like what I've done is for veg feeding, I start off at a quarter of whatever the full strength is, a quarter dose, and then I walk it up in between feedings, like at least 100 to 200 parts per million or EC until I get to the full dose. That way, because those little tiny seedlings don't need a full dose of your veg newts, you know, or even as they grow. So I think it's better on the plant. You know, it's more gentle. It's slowly introducing a higher dosage of newts as they go. And
Titration.
then, yeah, exactly. And then once they get rooted in the root rights, you know, I'll go up to the solo cup, and that's why I was saying you can bury it down lower. And then once they get big enough in the solo cup, it's into your either your final pot or your second pot, whatever you're going into. And then you can also bury it again if it decided to stretch on you there too. So you got two separate events there. You know, if you got a stretchy one, you can bury it down to keep that node site closer to your pot, at least for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And also part of that whole starting them in the small containers and then up potting them as they go helps to establish like a healthy root ball, because generally what the plant does is it'll shoot that tap root down, and it'll shoot the other roots out to the sides, and it'll go all the way to the edge of the pot before it starts to colonize the interior, right? Because it wants to stretch out, as the roots want to stretch out as much as they can. That's why you see those roots spiral in the pot if it gets root bound. Um, and so putting it into a small container and getting it, you know, to a decent size before you transplant it allows it to fully colonize that cup or whatever little cell or whatever you're starting it in before you move it up. And it once it's in its final pot, it'll have a very solid root mass versus a lot of roots towards the edges and the bottom of the pot and not a ton of stuff in the middle, which is what would happen if you were to put your seed directly into the final pot.
Yeah, and just on top of that, just keeping your environment good. Like I know you use you put yours in solos and you put like a plastic bag over it to contain the humidity. And like I use the humidity dome, but regardless, just keeping good humidity levels and temperature levels. You want it warmer, you want like a swamp in there, you know. I try to keep mine like between like 80, 85 degrees, and then, you know, anywhere between 75 and 85% RH. I mean, that's just kind of general zone. I mean, I've had it go up to like 90% humidity and it's fine. I've had it go up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit and it's still fine. I mean, I'm trying to keep it that high, but if it gets up that high, I'm not like freaking out or anything. You know what I mean?
I say it's a jungle in there. You can also talk about the veg environment, you know, hot or not hot, but warm and humid is going to make the plants happy.
Yeah, and honestly, I keep mine that way all the way as long as they're still growing vertically. So like right now, I'm just now finishing week 3, so I'm going to start decreasing the heat. I was keeping it like in the 80 to 83 degree range and around 1.3, 1.2 to 1.3 on my VPD. So I'm going to start gradually reducing the temperature. I might just take this heater out altogether because I think that the heat from the tent alone is just enough to keep it like in the high 70s, which is about perfect for me in flower. At least that's how I like it.
You got to think about these plants have been designed over, you know, however long, generations and thousands and however long, but don't want to get into all that. But they're designed to match their environment. And generally speaking, if you go outside in the spring, it's warm and humid. And if you go out, you know, in the fall, it's still going to be humid or damp and gross. But we're growing it for the production of the flowers. So we're going to tweak that environment a little bit so that we don't get bud rot or things like that, you know, towards the end. But generally speaking, you know, the plant, it wants to grow outside. It's designed to grow outside, and we're growing it inside. So our our temperature and humidity controls need to, you know, be on a similar par with the environment that it would have outside, because that's what it's designed for.
Yeah, and generally speaking, I mean, if the environment's comfortable for you, it should be comfortable for the plant. So you don't have to have like a bunch of equipment to monitor everything and keep it like precisely 81 degrees and whatever, you know. I mean, I would at least get a hygrometer, but you know, just kind of a reference, as long as you don't like walk or open your tent, you're like, shit, it's hot in there, and you start sweating, you're like, that's too much, you know, then it's too warm for your plants more than likely. Unless, like you said, you know, you're still like in the seedling or veg stage where you're trying to keep it warm intentionally. But yeah, definitely in flower. And you just got to watch your humidity later in flower and make sure it's not too high for you. But that goes way past the seedling care stage that we were talking about.
Well, yeah, but this is a grow show, so anything growing.
We can talk about it.
Yeah. No, Jay, shut up. That's not until like 3 weeks from now. We're gonna
We got to have something to talk about then.
Yeah, right. Don't waste all your topics. No.
But like this one, see how tight that one is to the pot. I don't like it too
very
tight.
tight node spacing too, right there on that plant.
Yeah, it is. They're almost like right on top of each other. And then this one had a little bit more of a separation. I probably did a bad job when I transplanted that one, but shit happens.
That looks great.
That's what I try to do in general. Like this one's about perfect, to be honest. Like I like a little bit of space because that gives you some room to work there. Like if I need to take this emitter off or get in there and hand water, you know, it gives you a little gap there. But yeah, I've had to raise these up. This is I got the one in the middle on a milk crate. Goth girl's just by herself. She's the big girl in this one, and then I had that one on a step stool just to get them back. But they're pretty level. This tent's a lot smaller than the other one. I'll get to that in a second. But so far, this one's really good. These are the two that I took cuttings on. So we'll have to wait and see. But the one on the left might be the keeper. This one's pretty tight too on the nodes coming up. So I like that. It's stacking
That
pretty
looks
good.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, those look
And,
real. I like that structure.
yeah, I do too. I like that. That's really tight. Versus over here, like on this one, this is the Goth girl. It's pretty. I mean, that's expected. And then once you get closer to the light, it'll start tightening up a little bit.
Right on.
But this thing is big as hell.
Which ones did you clone?
I cloned these two Queen of the Souths right here. So I took 3 cuttings from each. And I'm only going to keep 3. So it's probably going to be the one left. I'll just have to wait and see how it finishes out because I've got time. I mean, I'm not moving them in until I can get these out because I won't have a tent for them.
And by the way, Jace used the YouTube video I have, Artman cutting clones. He got 100% success rate.
Yeah, that one was. I love that because it was super simple and easy to follow. Just very straightforward. Actually, I think you had 2 of them on there I watched, but yeah, the first one that you were talking.
Yeah, one is economy clone, and it has smaller, cheaper cubes and the powder root hormone. That's all, and it's also using 2 cups instead of a clone dough.
Yeah, but that was a great video because it really just made it super simple and easy to follow along. And that was my first time doing it, and really helpful. I mean,
success. That's great.
Yeah, 100%. I had better success rate on my first cloning session than my first seed popping session. Of course, that's a little bit more tricky, but
It's easy. Cloning is good. I like cloning. Less sensitive than seedlings.
speaking of clones,
That's what they were saying in the chat was that clones are easier because they'll just take off once you get roots. You don't have to wait for them to establish themselves like seedlings.
They're also mature.
Right.
Also, so they do take off pretty good.
let's see if I can turn my light on. The veg tank.
Can you guys hear my cat?
We're in the clone tent. So. There we go.
Screaming at the door.
That's fine. Here,
Yeah.
him.
Okay.
He's in a cone of shame right now. He had a sore he was licking it. They put him in a cone. All right, sorry. It's distracting. Clones are looking great, Jace.
Yeah, I got these. God, when did I put these in there? It was last weekend. So when I first put them in, I like to rinse my cocoa out because it usually has pretty high EC. I noticed on your first watering, so I like to at least get it in a pot, and rinse it out just like some tap water, get that salt out of it. So when I first put these in here, I had rinsed it and I didn't have time to let it dry back any, so I had to put them in there basically just fully saturated. And just so this middle one, that's why it's still kind of droopy. It's still saturated, so it's actually been 2 days since I've had to water these, and I'm gonna let them dry back even more because I can feel the pot and they're still heavy, and I can see the cocoa, it's still very moist, so I don't
There's
need to
nowhere
water
for
them.
that moisture to go though inside that box.
Yeah, and the thing
So
is
they're
with
gonna
clones
stay.
too, because they don't have roots like a seedling would or as much.
Right.
Well, depending on the stage, so it's not going to drink up as much. That's why I keep coming in here and misting these too. That's why they're kind of wet on the surface.
Hmm.
Yeah, these are going really good. I've also got these numbered too. So that's my taller of the two Queen of the South, and the ones in the front are from the smaller of the two plants. So yeah, I'll keep 3 of these, and I'll probably have to clone them again at some point because I still have probably 6 weeks left before I get a free tent or tent freed up.
They'll be ready to go into flower by then.
Looking
Oh yeah,
good.
and I do the heat mat too. Do that for seedlings as well. Um, especially like up here because it's the the winter time, it gets really cold. This is like behind a window that goes outside, so it gets a little drafty in here, so that really helps out. And then yeah, like this one we were talking about. This one was about perfect. I probably could have gone a little bit higher, but just because I did like a 90 there compared to like this one, you get a little bit more how it's kind of angled upwards. It gives you more room to get in there.
Some big ass knuckles though.
They are, man. Yeah, you can see where it bruised where I super cropped it. And then this one almost broke off when I had a garden stake in there and it almost snapped it off. That's why it's shorter. I let it grow more straight up versus out to let it catch up to the rest.
Gotcha.
This one too, especially, I didn't think this would survive. I almost snapped that clean off right there.
Yeah, I can see that.
I
The
don't
big
know,
wound.
actually twice. I got one there too.
It's a resilient plant, man.
It
You're
is, man.
torturing him.
But you can see on that one on the left how I had to like loop it downwards, to try to keep it level and then just let that one go up so they would still be kind of level at the top. Ooh. But this tent, man, it's at the top. I don't have any more room to go. I pretty much have the light at the top. I might be able to squeeze a couple inches out of it. So that
Oh man.
it's like, yeah, maybe 2 inches. It's like 2 inches away from the light. And these aren't too far behind. These are like maybe 7 inches. So what I could do is if they don't grow anymore at all, which they probably will, I can take out these risers down here because that'll give me a couple inches right here and just set the pot straight down on the drain tray.
Yeah.
Which it's fine with these air pots because the bottom doesn't sit flush. It's raised up. So you can see it still lets water come out. Plus there's grooves in this drain tray. I just like having on those risers. I think you get better air circulation. Plus I can check my runoff if I want to in the saucer trays. But
Is your filter inside your tent?
yeah,
How much room you got above your tent?
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah.
No,
Just
no,
pull it,
above
take it
your
out
tent.
and hang it up from the ceiling
Yeah,
above
yeah.
it.
Put
And
it
Oh,
above your tent. You'll gain 6 inches.
yeah, well, the problem is I like to vent it out though. See, if I put my filter, I'll have to vent it back into this lung room. But I mean, it would still scrub it though because it's going through the carbon filter.
those
What I
carbon
could,
filters are designed, I believe, to go, you can push through them too. I think.
They have a rating on them. You got to match your CFUs up.
Yeah, narrow. Yeah. Oh yeah, if you put it outside of your tent, you'll gain 6 inches, 8 inches right there.
well, what I might do, well, worst case, I can always move them to the gorilla tent over here because I got a lot of room on that. And those
That's
plants,
all. Yeah.
the tallest one I have over here is the goth girl, and it's still probably a few inches shorter than the shortest one on the other tent. And I got plenty of room up here.
You
Yeah.
do.
That's a
You
big
got
ass
lots of
tent.
room in that one.
Yeah,
So much more room for activities.
it is. That's why I got it
I
for
love it.
That is
situations
sweet.
like that. I I don't want to buy another one because man, these things are so freaking expensive. But Gorilla makes a tent that's in like this style where it has the single door that opens, but it's I think it's almost a foot taller, so it's not as tall as that one, and so it's just like this. You can't add on to it like this one. See that has a 1 foot extension. You could put another foot on it, which I could barely fit it up there to get this. It's like a 10 foot tent at that point.
That's a nice tent. That's one of the nicest ones I've seen, period.
Man, it is, and like when you use it side by side with this Mars, it's the Mars feels so cheap. I mean, if that's the only tent I ever knew, like it would be okay and fine. But after you use the Gorilla, it's like
You're
the
spoiled.
The Pinto and the Cadillac.
Right on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say never buy a tent that has plastic poles because that's even worse.
Yeah,
don't
and
want
these
the D
are
rating. They have a normally have a D rating as the thickness of the material.
one thing I don't like about this Mars too is like all of the vent ports, not the duct ports, but the vent ports. You know, usually it has like a it's Velcro and you like roll it up, but it's attached to the top. Well, this one's not. Like the whole freaking thing pulls off. I don't like that.
Mine does that on,
Same
yeah, I have a Mars Hydro.
same
Mine
thing on the
does.
window on the front. You can like the whole window comes off, and there's no plastic behind it, so it's straight up like just a screen mesh. So your environment goes in. You know, so if you're just trying to view it without exchanging your environment, you can't do
Mm,
that. Which it's not a big deal, but it's something I noticed. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Just now finishing up week 3, so hopefully these things are done growing vertically, and I won't run out of room where I have to move these. I might have to move them over anyways, but cross that bridge when I get there.
man, I really like your setup. I think you nailed it because you were saying you were getting all the pieces together, and I think
Yeah,
that's a great setup there.
It is.
thanks. I I think I told you before. This is let's see. I started off with a 4x8 here, and it was an AC Infinity 4x8, and I bought that new. It was only like $225 at the time, and I only did one grow in that, and I sold that, and I pretty much broke even on it, which was nice. And then I bought that 5x5 that grill I had, and it was nice, and I got 2 grows out of it, but it was just too much. I was just pulling too much weight out of here for myself, and it was taking up most of this room in my office here. So I went with these. I got the 2 2x4s in that clone tent, but yeah, I mean, it could be a money pit. So I'm just hoping this is my final setup, and I really feel that way. I feel like it's all like finally come together. So I'm trying to buckle this up.
I think a lot of people look at the cost of setting up grow and they're like, holy shit, that's a lot of money to invest. And then you just how much have you harvested since you invested that money, and how much money would that have cost you to go buy from the dispo or from your guy on the corner or whatever? I
Well,
think
yeah, I
the
mean,
setup pays for itself within the first couple harvests generally.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, maybe in the first one, I mean, well, like that 5x5, that last grow I had, it was I had like 2.5 pounds, so whatever that would be, market value at the dispensary. I mean, honestly, like everything I have here, probably all the money I've ever spent here, I recovered it just on that one harvest.
Yeah, I'd say.
But you don't have to start off like, I mean, I didn't start off like this. That Mars tent brand new was like 80 or $90, and that's that and your light. I mean, if you're going to spend money on anything, it'd be your light, but you can still get a good light for a good deal though.
I started in a basement, and then I moved into a closet grow, and then I finally got into a tent after a couple years of growing. So, yeah, most people don't go set up straight away. And that's where the money suck is, because as you upgrade and upgrade and upgrade and get better and better, then you want to be buying all the stuff like, I'm in a closet, and then now I need to get a tent and a light, and I'm going to go with a 2x2 because that's the size the closet is and I'm used to it. And then you're like, oh, I've done a couple grows in this. Now I need a 2x4 so I can add a couple plants or whatever. And then you got to get rid of the 2x2 and get the 2x4. So, and
Yeah,
at
I
least for
definitely
me, I
do.
was just buying shit like constantly. Ooh, that'd be cool in my grow. Like I'm gonna get this gadget or whatever. I need a new fan or this light's on sale or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Like, if you're going to get into it, I mean, really do your research. Probably the first thing you need to do is just establish a harvest threshold. Like, how much do I need? Like, well, why am I growing? If it's just for myself, like, how much do I need? Just realizing, like, okay.
I think we lost you.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
we lost him.
Or he cut out or something. His audio.
His audio went anyway.
Because most people start off
Oh,
too
there you
big, just like I did.
There it is. We're having trouble with your audio, Jace.
in and out, shake it all about.
go. I think
You-
maybe it's his headphones.
And
His headphones
Faraday effect.
could be that. There you go. I think.
Back away from the tent.
it.
Slowly. There you go.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, man, the whole why are you growing? Because here's the thing for me, like I don't need pounds. I just need, a couple ounces, maybe a month. And but I want to grow all the strains. So I need the space to do that. I don't need to grow all the strains, but I want to grow all the strains. So oh, there goes Jace. He'll be back.
I want concentrates.
That's what you're growing for.
My wife likes concentrates. I like concentrates. Sure. Absolutely. I like hash. I like rosin. I like keef, dry sift.
Do you want to see my how I up pot?
Yep, I'm
Sure.
coming over.
I'm sure I've probably shown this method before, but I don't like to squeeze the pots as such. But if you've got these nice pots like this, you can just flex them. You hear that? They're flexing away from the sides there, and they're And then what I'll do is I'll grab the stem of the plant and I'll tap the pot. Normally it just pops off, but it didn't.
See, I would get nervous holding it by the stem like that. There you go.
I mean, if you got I mean, if you got to have a decent stem in order to do it. I mean, I know I weren't going to lose it because I knew there was a root ball on there. That wasn't going to come unattached. If the pot it still feels a little bit moist, and because there was such a root ball on there, that was a little bit more adhered to it. But I reckon the next one might come out easier. But yeah, I filled the pots up and I just used one of these as a thing so it just slipped straight in there. Yeah, there you go, and there you go, that's done.
Excellent. Very
And that's
smooth.
in one of my fabric pots that have got the holes in the bottom. As soon as I see the roots down in the bottom of the tray there, yeah, that'll just get stood up on the top of the bed in one of my free spaces. If not, I'll make a space for it. But I've also got all this room that I'm now sitting in that I can always just hang a light over. Like I said, if it comes to, I have got two LED lights, but I'm only planning on using the one. Hopefully, I can just get it all crammed under that space there without having a, I'm a little bit concerned about how much electricity I'm actually using at the moment.
That's a fair point.
It's bad when when you flower them, you're only doing 12 hours on your maximum, really. Sometimes I even drop it down to 9. So that's the vegetative. If you're banging, if you've got a big light and you're running it for veg,
That's what mine, I run a tents on the 2 tents on 12-12, and then I have a little 2x2 veg space that just has all the clones and just keep throwing them in perpetual grow style. One goes into flower, one comes out. Then, a good portion of my lights is on 12-12 versus vegging everything for a month or two and then flipping. Just keep the plants small and run them through the flower area. There you go. That's a nice little hole right there.
See this? I don't like doing it. You see what's happened there, right? The reason why I don't like doing it like this is because all that loose dirt is now fell onto the leaves here.
Yeah.
You know, which will be down the side of the leaves. And if you're going to get any bugs or anything like that or any shit, you know, so basically what I'm now going to have to do after I've now potted this and everything, I'm going to get a good, give it a good spray down and wash all this dirt off. And I forgot, I did have my micros out, but because I've got a bit of a sieve head and I just smoked that joint, I forgot to apply it. So I'm not even really fussed about it. But what I normally would have done when I'd seen all them roots there, I'd have just give that a little bit of a dusting with my micros. But yeah. I like to pretty make this firm as well. Because you know, there's nothing like having a plant that's got some nice bud on it and it's all weak and loose down the bottom here and it just fucking falls over and you got to support it because you know just the stems or you know just hasn't got enough anchorage. You need a little bit of firmness, you know. Don't just fuck throw it in there in a fluffy airy shit. Make sure you give that a good pat down.
I would even recommend pack it down as you fill the pot up because if you just fill the whole pot up and then try and smash it down from the top, you're going to have pockets in there of non-compacted media that will potentially like collapse or be a dead spot for roots or whatever later on down the line. I give some shout outs here to the chat. I see All That's Green. What's up, Miranda? Caveman, Galaxy, Anything Grows, Rolling Smoke, J5. Artman's in the chat and on the panel. Look at him.
Cool.
He doesn't get a double paycheck though. Cannabinoid Labs, Hewley, Operation Annihilation. Welcome Sled to the show. You are a moderator now, so you can post links. Yeah, good to see everybody. Fluff's Gardens, Silent Truth. There's a lot of people here. It's awesome. I'm glad people are coming to the show and finding it a place to come and hang out on, you know, Wednesdays and Sundays again and keep a good thing going with the awesome group of people that we got. Shout out to Vark Dog Farms. He's doing the cheap home grow. We're attempting it, and that's pretty cool to see that. Love me a fellow CHG grower.
I need to go get my water. Just actually put it in just had to heat it up because you know this time of year your water comes out of the tap fucking freezing cold. So just heat it up like a baby bottle. Just put it in a bowl full of warm water.
Interesting. So I would just let it sit out, you know, for an hour or so and acclimate to the room temperature a little bit more. Yeah. So watering seedlings is definitely a tricky business. One of the tricks that I use is that I water the very outside of the pot or the solo cup or whatever it's in, and I leave a ring of dry media around the stem so that it doesn't have a place for bacteria to grow and potentially cause it to damp off, which is basically where the bacteria eats through the stem right at the level of the soil or the media, and it just flops over and it's done. And that's definitely something that a lot of people run into that are, you know, that if they struggle with starting seeds, keep the media right around the stem dry so that it doesn't have a place for that to grow.
Yeah, it's airflow really. Generally, that's when the problems arise. It's when you ain't got the airflow. I like to keep the stem wet. Well, whilst there's because without that moisture there, it's not going to be you. Around the soil, I want to produce roots. and that will only produce roots if it's got the humidity and the moisture there to do so. If not, it's just going to dry off. You know, horses for courses, I don't have a problem with it myself. I'll water nutrients down the fucking stem. Don't bother me. You know, it's a case of I'm not going to do it every single day. You know, and it's not gonna be in a place where it's not gonna be allowed to dry out. If you get what I mean, that's probably where the issue is. You know, when you see this fusarium and stem rot and things like that, it's because people are sort of like every day or a couple of times a day, they're constantly applying it. You know, but when you say, you know, you're loving your plant to death,
Right. Keeping
but
it
you know,
very wet for
if I'm
constantly.
interested in getting something to inoculate that rhizosphere, you're going to want to get it close to the stem because that's where the root ball is. And
Well,
that's
I'm
where
not
you want.
talking like the very edges of the pod. I mean, like maybe, you know, depending on the size of it, a quarter inch to an inch away from the stem. So it's still the water's still getting down into that main root area. It's just not pressing directly. It's not leaving wet media pressing directly on the stem. I don't know. That's my style of doing it. But yeah, the plant's designed to get wet. It's designed to be out in nature with all that shit. And um the constant application is definitely a main cause of that.
Yeah. You know, and possibly, you know, maybe the incorrect pH, maybe some of the stuff you're putting in there might be like a sugar or something like that that's going to encourage some bad shit to grow. You know, there's all of this sort of stuff. Normally, when I'm putting stuff down, actually I water it on the stem and down because I'm wanting it to go and coat the stem because you know, I'm normally putting trichoderma or bacillus or something like that's when I would be applying that because I want it to actually get in the into the root and encourage roots to grow on that. So, what I like to have, ideally, I like to have that. If you notice when the plant goes down, it sends the tap root down. You get a clump of roots at the bottom, and I call them sort of like water roots. But you get another set that comes out near the top of the surface of the soil, and they grow across the surface of the soil like a mat. And I call them the feeder roots. And you
Right.
can encourage these feeder roots by putting that having the food source actually on the top, so they grow up and then they spread out like a mat. So when I come to lay my dry amendments, I've got more chance that I've got a wider surface area because it's like a mat of roots at the top. Yeah, but that's just my thinking. Whether I'm talking shit or not, you know.
Hey, there's like I say, there's a million ways to grow the plant, and most of them are right, and some of them are terribly wrong, you know. But we don't share those because we've all experienced them and killed plants doing it. So at least
Also,
most of the information that we have has been you know, tested in our gardens. So
yeah,
Well,
a
it's
lot
all
of the
about
roots they don't just grow
trial and
down.
error too. I mean, just finding what's best for you. I mean, just because it works good for somebody else doesn't mean it worked good for you. And I mean, honestly, like once you get in a lull, I like to try new things. You know, I like to step outside my comfort zone and clone a plant, or start popping seeds where I used to grow and clone. Just trying something new to try to get more well-rounded. Elevate your game.
yeah, and that's the great thing is having so many people that have different styles. So you can just pick and choose things that match what you're trying to do. You know, and there's times where I do things that are outside of my norm because I'm trying to you know, do something specific. And like for example, I was messing around with giving higher doses of nutrient to plants that are flowering seeds, and you know it worked all right, you know, but they didn't look great. And so, you know, you switch it up and try something new every once in a while. It's not gonna kill you, and you might learn something from it.
Yeah, because you don't want your plants to not have enough energy to actually finish making the seeds into a decent product. That's where I would, like yourself, I would go on the side of I'm going to make sure they got more than enough.
Yeah.
So they can actually finish and create something out of, you know, the goodness. If they're running short, you might get some shitty fucking germinations, or, you know, white seeds, or, you know, just seeds that's just fucking ain't got nothing in them.
I want to respond to the chat. We have somebody in chat called Harry who says, I have a sick plant, has dry leaves and feel papery and crisp, has been cold and dry though here. I would say that we would need a lot more information to diagnose anything. But yeah, boost your temperature and humidity and lower your lights a little bit and see what happens. If
That's
it's droopy too, any ideas what's wrong? Might
like
be your
like that calcium in that veg tent. One of my solutions, like I said, was you know, water it through, because I did just put nutrients in a couple of days before. So give it a water through, make sure it's all totally wet, and I backed the light off. You know, I raised the light up another 6 inches. Just you know, to be on there. You know, it could be light burn.
right, you know, and like compare it to a sick person. The light is it's converting that light into energy and growing and exerting itself, you know. And if the person is sick, they're not going to want to exercise and work out and shit and grow. Like you can turn that light down and take a little bit of that load off of the plant, and it'll thank you for it. Generally speaking, if you have a sick plant, turning the light down isn't going to hurt it, it's going to help it. But yeah, you're welcome to come on the show if you want, Harry, and show us your plant, and we can maybe try and help you figure out what's going on. The link is pinned in the chat there. No pressure though. Definitely. We don't need to make anybody feel like they have to do anything. But this is a place for people to come if they do have questions or anything like that. So for seedlings, let's say don't overwater them. Don't apply a bunch of shit to them all the time. Make sure you're paying attention though. Don't let them get too dry because they will not like that either. I would recommend, you know, just for in general, like go fill a cup up with media that's at the right moisture level and see how much feel it in your hand and have it as a reference. And you can kind of pick up that one and then pick up the one that has the plant in it and feel both of them and say like, okay, this one feels lighter. So I need to maybe add a little bit of water and do some experimenting with the media in cups and see what feels right to you, you know?
Yeah. So generally, for my first watering, I like to fully saturate the pot till it gets a little bit of runoff. Especially if you're using a bag, like Jay said, the EC can be a little bit high on the initial watering. So you can cure that just by giving it a little bit of you know, 20% runoff. You'll take that EC down, and just let that, put your seedling in it or whatever, and just let that totally dry back before you water it again. That's the best advice. You know, it's the seed will then acclimate as that pot dries out. It will register. And by the time it totally dries back, that'll have pretty much filled that pot out, or depend on the size of the pot.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't.
probably just having like good light levels too. You know, starting off, don't hit them too hard. I like to keep it around 150 ppfd, and then once I see them, you know, probably maybe not that first set of leaves, but probably the first set of broad leaves, then I'll really increase the ppfd. I'll probably get it up to at least 300, up to 500, maybe a little.
Yeah,
I know
I mean,
Artman's having
especially
some technical issues.
yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah,
especially if you're working from a bag soil or whatever. I mean, the EC is going to be sort of like all over the place in there. And if you haven't watered it through properly, your root's going to find a real hot spot. And that, you know, that's when you might see, you might get that, oh, what's going wrong sort of thing. And it's just because you know, that bit was dry and the roots are just tapped into it. And there's you know, a little bit of a high fucking EC or whatever. I like to, like I say, just get a good water through. You know, is really good. Some people don't. I mean, if you're working in soil as well, the fact of your microbes. If you're doing organics, I would sometimes I would water my soil 2 days before, or get it out of the bag and leave it or water it through and then leave it to dry back a bit before I put into it. But the point is that 2 days, all the microorganisms that were dormant inside that bag have just had 2 days to grow and repopulate. So when you put your stuff in there, everything's already thriving. You ain't got you're not sort of like got to wait for your organics to kick in, or you ain't got to, because you've almost like you've woken it up, woke it up by doing that. And if
like
you didn't
that.
water it through properly, it's dead soil pretty much until it's got some water back in it.
I'm gonna say welcome to Sky Overhead. How's it going, buddy?
Cheers, everybody.
Hey, Scott, what's going on?
Hey, Bass, what's going on, buddy? Base.
Art man, I can hear you. I don't know if there was some technical issues. Oh, there you are. Now I can
No,
see
I
you.
turned off my camera. I was monkeying
Oh.
around here.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
That's
sure.
all. I don't want to distract from ice tonight. I was just fooling around here.
Oh, you're
How's it
good.
going, Base?
I'm doing well. How about everybody else?
Doing
Good.
great.
Doing good.
Those are those plants, huh? Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
They're
I
kicking.
have one outside. It's been outside for, I think this will be the fourth night of being outside. But I got all the tomatoes out of here, and then all these are from that one that had the rotten stem. So they look like they're starting to root up already. And I've got them right in front of this fan. And they got too much light too, so they look all,
It was sad.
yeah, there's too much light. But they're doing good. And then this one right here is that other one that had like the whole root rot thing going on. Like
Oh,
it's
still
still
alive.
kind of, it's still alive. Like it's starting to grow. It's
Look at all
starting to
that.
grow
It's
white
got all
stuff.
those calluses on it.
But you want to keep it in there with the other ones, though? Wouldn't that make you nervous?
No, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm not scared.
All right.
Like if something don't survive, like the plan is for either the soil to eat what I put into it, or whatever I put into the soil will grow vigorously. So if it's not doing that, then it don't belong.
Kill it all.
So yeah, I think that one might be male, this one, and this one. But I'm not sure just yet because my eyes suck.
That story.
But they're pretty much all the nodes are still pretty close together. I haven't been around for the last 3 days, so I just moved the light up, so they're kind of getting a little bit of relief because I definitely had the light too low. But they're doing good for how I'm growing them in the seedling stage anyway. Like they should be looking worse than they are.
No, they're looking great.
So that's about it for the indoor one. Do you want to go see what's outside?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Those plants are looking great, man. Thank you for keeping on coming back, and here, I'll take you off the spotlight.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep you updated since they're like your seed, your creations.
I appreciate it. It's really cool. I like seeing it because there's no way I could grow that many seeds, for that I put out in the community. So I like seeing everybody else's stuff going on. Here, I'm gonna put you back on the spotlight here.
It's a good thing too, because then you get other people to stress out your seeds that you weren't able to do in your own garden.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is chard. I planted this a while back, and it's just been out freezing every night, and it's scrumptious. And then this is kale, nice and thick leaves. So good.
Pace is a
And what?
juicer. He juices everything, including his weed leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll juice the whole plant. Like all those, what's one? I might keep a male or something. It just depends. But usually, like the males and the hermaphrodites all get juiced.
Nice.
Yep.
So it's usually 3 apples, and a carrot. The carrot helps push everything through the juicer. So it's 3 apples, plant, and then a carrot or something hard to push it through, like a beet,
Okay.
or a piece of celery.
I have no experience with
and then,
juicing anything.
oh man, it's amazing. I've got
I've seen
blender
him.
too.
Hey,
I've seen his juice.
Rocinante is asking if that's red Russian kale.
Yes, it is.
Good eye.
And
Of
I've
course.
I've had these seeds probably since about 2007, and I've just been pushing them through like environmental stresses, like super excessive heat. So it gets sometimes 115 degrees here. And then I've had them all the way down to like 26 degrees Fahrenheit. So they frost all the way up to where the whole plant's frosted. And then like as it warms up during the day, the plant's fine. So
Awesome.
that's like I have celery, I have green onions, I have red kale, I have rainbow chard. What else do I have? That's all I can think of right now. But yeah, I've been working with my seeds for a long time. So
That's
these
awesome,
are all
man.
the tomato plants that I planted.
So I would consider that an heirloom. You'd be an heirloom grower, huh?
Yes.
I love it. What temperatures are you getting down to now out there?
It's actually been pretty warm the last 3 nights. It's just been foggy in the morning and then sunny in the day. I'm not sure what it's got down to. I'd have to look it up. But in the garage it only was like 63 degrees the last 2 nights.
Oh, that's not bad compared to what you've been getting.
Yeah, it's usually 48 degrees in there.
The plants
So
are like,
we
it's a
got-
jungle.
There's a celery plant. So that came out of this plant here when I transplanted it. But yeah, this is the first one that really showed that it was a female. So how I determine, which has been pretty consistent for me, is you count up 4 nodes from the bottom, and then that's where you start looking. And then you want to start looking at the 4th node, and then once you see a pre-flower, you want to check the opposite side of that node and make sure it's the same pre-flower, because usually like a hermaphrodite or something different than just all predominantly female will have an opposite flower.
Uh-oh. You're cutting out.
Different.
Losing you.
I don't know how much you heard of that.
We heard, I think, most of it.
Fourth node,
yeah.
Fourth node, check both sides. Generally, the herms will show that they're different. Which actually, I had somebody Say, you
here's
know, if it's, you can pick those first male flowers off if there are any and let it go. And because sometimes it's just those that show.
yeah, because it could be a predominantly female plant. But what I'm saying here is it's usually going to be female if you got a female flower on this side and this side. Because usually any other ones will pop up opposite. It'll be a male flower on one side and then a female on the other side if it's like a hermaphrodite.
Interesting.
But I always make sure that there's a exact flower opposite to determine if that's the sex of the plant. And it's been pretty dead on for me. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, as a first take, I could also make an argument against it, but I mean, if it works
Yeah.
for you, man, that's the whole thing is if that's what I know I know some people out there even that are using like pendulums or tarot cards to determine which seeds are going to be male and female and things like that. And I like that. It's kind of like a little bit of a, I don't know. I don't want to say superstition because that's not the right word, but yeah, just something that you do or
Yeah.
something that you've noticed works for you.
When I put these seeds in a napkin, I I picked out a seed that I felt that was going to be the best plant, the best female out of the bunch, and we're going to see if I'm right or not.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I do as well. You have a selection of seeds, and you normally I pick the biggest ones. You know, that's the way it normally works. I'm like a kid in the sweet shop. I want the biggest ones, the biggest seeds,
Yeah.
the ones bigger than all the rest.
Yeah, there's
Sorry,
the
go ahead.
plants and things definitely will communicate to you in a way if you're listening. I don't know how to explain it, but they just do.
I did a experiment. I had 5 rigs that when I transplanted them into the 1 gallon pot, I sat down with them and I meditated for like 30 minutes and I just like put my hands on them and was like visualizing and I'm like, okay, this one, and I marked them all. This is a male, this is a female, this is a herm, I think was one of them. And I was right on, I think about half I got right, and the other half I was wrong. But it was fun to do
Yeah,
it. So
see? That's good. Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
that's more woo woo than what you are doing with the male and females on the plant. But yeah, I mean,
I'll
if
talk to
it's
them. I'll give them sweet talk and stuff. I'm like, you're looking good today.
or people that play music for their plants and things.
So,
You know,
ouch.
I was grounding my soil for a little while, but you know, I was just having wires and all sorts of stuff everywhere. But I just had a little earth wire.
What's
This
I got
one
crystals.
smells so good. So this is one that's been growing since like October, and it's only got, seedling height, but it smells delicious.
But it
So
survived the
it's,
winter, huh?
yeah, so it looks like it's starting to re-veg now. So I'm gonna re-veg that out and do some breeding with it.
Nice.
Since it looks like this one's female next to it too.
Oh wow. That's a very hardy plant.
Yeah, so yeah, during the winter they'll just stay real close to the ground.
You're on the West
But
Coast, right?
yeah,
Okay.
Sacramento.
Okay. I wasn't trying to ask. I just I know somebody was curious.
Oh,
Like they were like, "Oh,
I
you're outside now?" Like, holy shit. So, yeah,
I don't
California
care
climate.
really because if you probably Google my name, you'll probably find out who I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that hard to find.
I guess that's a good thing if you want it
Let's
to be.
see. Well, I don't really give a shit.
You're a musician, right?
Yeah, so I got some stage names.
Cool.
So this is my raspberries. They're starting to grow back now. So I put a cage around everything.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
think you
Here's a
got-
piece of it that's growing.
Too far from the modem.
Can you hear me or am I gone?
No, you're
Yeah,
just real blurry.
Okay. Well, there's really not much out here yet. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay, let me try to go back over this way. So this is one of the first plants I planted when I moved in here, and it's just like a big bush now. This is rainbow chard, and it's already seeded up a long time ago and put seeds all over the place too. But this good stuff here. Look at this.
Nice.
And that's just like a side branch. There's that branch there. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes. There's another big old. These are all just like side branches coming off this main stalk in here.
That's awesome.
So
Food
yeah,
for
that's
days,
just
huh?
one plant. Yeah, the goal is to plant food to where if I'm have to come out and cut the yard, I'm eating food.
There you go.
So
benefit.
like everything that grows in the yard gets cut back down and put back into the yard. So these are celery plants. These are also from when I first moved in here. I planted like 100 of these right here in this area, and they're still going. So they're pretty nice. My chicken comes out here and cleans them up, digs up the dirt around them and stuff. But I always have to have celery and stuff like that to put through the juicer in the blender. Can you hear me or am I gone?
Yep. Nope, you're good. We could hear you and see you.
Yeah, so these are looking nice because it's the right time of year for this. It's nice and cool.
That's awesome, man.
You can see the slugs are eating some too. And then here's another one back here in the weeds.
See, that's what I want. I want a yard full of food.
Yeah,
Yard
so
full of medicine.
that gets chopped up and thrown in the chicken or soup. And then I've got blackberries that haven't started growing yet.
Nice.
I've got a new orange tree over there. I'm starting to like take oranges and lemons and stuff and pile them around there. So it can start to get the soil to the right pH and stuff, so it'll take off. And
That's
then over
interesting.
by that blue thing, there's a Myers lemon tree. But like I said, I'm still trying to get the soil right to get them to come alive. And then just sprinkled throughout here, I got kale and chard. And I think this is wheatgrass right here. There's a ladybug.
Ladybug doesn't go in the juicer though, right?
Yeah. See balls.
If it don't crawl out, yeah, it probably does.
That's funny. It's extra
So,
protein.
A little protein shot in there with your
Yeah.
kale.
yeah, so there's little spots of food starting to happen. And then there's like wild stuff here too that's edible. Like this
Do you
flower
eventually
thing.
eat your chickens?
That's a wild Asian radish. It's called rat's tail. So
That's
you can
cool.
eat the leaves and the seed pods and the flowers.
It's awesome.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, I think you can do the roots too.
Do you
But
eat your chickens?
what's that?
Do you eat the chickens?
Chickens?
No,
No.
right. We just got them for eating the eggs, and then once they're done laying the eggs, I just keep them as pets. You know, I don't want to eat
Okay.
them. It's hard because like I become too good of friends with them, and then
Yeah, I'd
it,
be the same. But if I was just going to suggest, if you did eat them, you could grow sort of like herbs and stuff that flavors them. That
little time.
yeah,
yeah, that's what some people, they feed their livestock certain foods that complement the flavor when they consume it.
Like the Wagyu, don't they give them the Japanese beer or something?
I don't know.
I don't.
No idea.
I know they massage them though.
Yeah, I thought yeah, I know they did that, and then I thought they gave them like a beer or something. I don't know. I could be mistaken.
What's going on in this pot?
this is green onion, or I think it's green onion, and then that's carrots. Um, that should probably be celery. That I thought that was basil, but it's not. It's actually oregano. Yeah, there should be celery, kale, oregano, onions. What else did I put in there? Cilantro. Yeah, I got this is more oregano. More oregano. That's aloe vera. And then I got kale here, chard, and it looks like weeds. And then just like kale and chard that's sprouted off from the seeds out of these pots here.
That's great.
And then this should be wheatgrass. Oh, here's a pumpkin. I mulched my bed with these things probably 3 or 4 years ago, and they just keep growing back every year now.
Nice.
So we got some oregano in here, and this is all wheatgrass here. Man, I am getting nailed by the mosquitoes.
Oh, you can go
Ooh,
back inside if you need to.
look at how red that is.
It's pretty.
It
I'm
really
not a
is.
fan of the flavor, but it's a pretty plant.
Yeah, it tastes kind of salty and like grass to me.
Yeah, like bitter almost.
I'm gonna go back into the other garden now.
Yeah, you're good, bro. Thanks for the tour. Can't wait to see it
Yeah.
all busting up and turn your yard into a jungle.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so the goal is to make it so whatever I cut down out there, it's for eating or selling. So
Nice.
a food forest type of thing, maybe like a CSA or something, community supported agriculture.
Okay.
That way I'm not trying to pay for everybody to eat.
Right.
Everybody's chipping in and helping out either with some labor or buying a new tree to go in the ground.
you ever think about doing mushroom logs?
I actually have a whole bunch of logs out there that have mushrooms on them, but I have no idea what types I need.
You can go they're like little wood pellet things that are inoculated, and you could just take a drill out there and drill a bunch of holes in those logs and just tap these little inoculated plugs in there, and the year after you'll have a bunch of like oyster mushrooms or whatever you want.
I'll be damned. Hey, that's
Okay.
pretty cool.
I so now
I
you're
mean,
muted if you're talking.
That's cool.
So they're called dowels. You know, like what you use in where you put a joint together in wood. Them little wooden
Yeah, wood pegs.
yeah,
Dowels.
they're called dowels. Inoculated dowels.
That's cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. You can also get like shit, what's it? I don't remember. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find a link because that's a cool one. You can definitely supplement all your vegetables and stuff if you got some mushroom logs too in your garden.
Wood loving mushrooms. You know, it's basically wood loving mushroom spores. If that's what you're after, that's what you're gonna need to search up.
I have some oak tree logs out there. It looks like they got some sort of mushroom or turkey tail. Here, I'll go show you guys. I wonder if you guys can see it.
Yeah, here, northspore.com has all kinds of shit for that. I know we kind of gone off the topic of cannabis a little bit, but it's still growing and we like mushrooms and things like that too. So
Let's
plus
see, where did I put it off?
it's Wednesday night, so and I'm on my third joint of the evening.
Woo! I
See some
haven't
mushrooms.
actually. I haven't been able to smoke in about 3 or 4 days because I've been
Oh,
too
man.
damn busy. So there's some oak logs right there. They got mushrooms on them.
Okay.
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know if those are edible or not.
They look like they do look like turkey tails.
They do, but turkey tail has a lot of lookalikes as well. I
Yeah.
don't know
You
that it
can-
has any very poisonous ones, but if you don't know, I wouldn't risk it.
You can get one of those mushroom identifier apps, and you can probably get 3 or 4 different ones just to confirm. Then you get then you'll get a name of something you can then put into Google, and then it will give you some further identifying characteristics like what shape of the gills, what color of the gills,
Good idea.
does the stem attached to the gills and things like that, which will help you further identify what it is.
I believe when I was doing my foraging course that turkey tail has a dark edge, not a light edge like those do. But I could be backwards. It could be a light edge that it has.
Yeah, I think you better look it up.
But yeah, that's one of the identifiers that you can use.
I think it might be one of the ones that you can set fire to. Well, a lot of these mushrooms you can actually burn, and they're like fire burn. I can't remember. I took a picture of it and so put it on Instagram one day, and someone commented on it and said, "Have you actually looked at what they can be used for?" And one of them was to keep you warm.
Shelf mushrooms. That's what those are. Yeah, I would say, and it says abolish says do not forage for mushrooms unless you're an expert. What I
Yeah,
did was
yeah.
I learned about 12 edible mushrooms that don't have any poisonous lookalikes. And if it isn't any of those 12, I don't touch it.
Good
You
idea.
know? Then at least you know, like
You can
Poisonous
eat
lookalikes,
every
huh?
mushroom at least once.
Yeah, that's
Let's
what
see.
Seven said too. They're all edible at least once.
I was sat in the emergency room. I think I can't remember when it was. I think it was when I went for my swollen face and my abscess. As I was sitting there, some gentleman come in. He said, "I think I might have eaten something I shouldn't have." I was out
Uh-oh.
just eating foraging. I just had a little giggle inside. So there you go.
You thought I was so Simon.
No,
He
I
started
was,
tripping and then he got paranoid and went to the emergency room.
a lot of people are like that, you know. They like to try and sort of like eat weird plants and stuff.
Yeah, they
know?
saw it on TikTok. Go out there and eat it.
Yeah.
I've seen so much misinformation on Instagram. Just it's so bad. Like not even about cannabis, just about life stuff in general. Like don't copy people off the internet unless it's
You
one
know
of
what?
us.
I'm surprised. I'll put a couple of controversial posts up this week just in the last few days, and they haven't touched it. They haven't even put one of them. We're not, this isn't factual or whatever. It's not disputed, and they've left it alone. So there's something going on at the moment. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe. I don't know. So does
Freedom
I
of
was
speech
gonna
is a little bit open at the moment. That's all I'm saying. And I've got God mode on AI, so I can use that AI that's uncensored, should I say?
So I saw a video of AI chat bot calling to make a reservation for a guy at a hotel, and another AI chat bot answered the call. And then when
I
they
saw
figured
that.
out that they were both AI chatbots, they switched to a different like communications thing, and like they were like screeching at each other. It sounded like old fashioned modem kind of. And it was like I think it's called like Gigalink or something. But I was like, that's fucking scary. They shut down an AI a couple of years ago because it started creating its own language. Now the AI has its own language that they can talk to each other with. I don't know, man. It's, yeah,
Self-aware.
it's kind of,
It's self-aware now,
well,
and
it's,
this is where we border on line of are we now going to grant it actual living status because
no,
it's
man.
self?
It's just a pattern recognition machine. It's not alive or aware.
Terminator, Steve.
This quantum thing is different, yeah. I mean, I've done a little bit of research onto where we get our consciousness from, and trying to understand how a lot of stuff works. And there's an amino acid called tryptophan, and there's a theory now coming out. We're in a quantum universe, and our consciousness is being beamed to all of us from the center of the universe via this tryptophan
I
amino acid inside our
I think I
brains.
saw something about that, but we're getting really far off of cannabis. I'm sorry, man. I gotta pull you back in, but I'm gonna send you a PDF later.
I think I might have. I've already got it, mate. I think probably.
Yeah, but we're let's get back onto seedling care for a little bit if that's cool with y'all.
Yeah,
Um,
you're right.
so the thing that Jace was mentioning earlier about giving the nutrients at a quarter strength, that's something that I learned the hard way that you should do if you're doing especially salt-based nutrients. Um, start whatever the manufacturer recommends, at least cut it in half on the lowest dose to start with, because a lot of these places they want to sell as much, you're going to need use more, use more, use more so that we can sell you more bottles or whatever it is. And I would say it's better to be safe than sorry when you're first getting the plant going, and start very small with the nutrients and titrate the dose up, which means to increase it until you see either an adverse reaction in the plant or you're happy with where the plant is at with its greenness and vigor and all that stuff as well. Um, Anybody got any recommendations for, well, I guess it would be only ice and I for oh no, Sky's organic as well. Giving organic nutrients in the seedling stage, would you just say whatever's in that first initial mix, or do you top dress with anything or water anything in or anything like that?
No, no.
It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm in soil, I just use the bag soil because it should be good for at least 28, 35 days. Um, Anything after that, you start, like at a quarter strength, and then you work your way up from there. So I believe the Art Man's right about 60 parts per million, or what is it? 60
EC.
um
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
I use.
that's a good start for the seedlings and the clones when you very first start out. And then just once they're about this big, you should probably be about 200 parts per million, 180, 200.
Okay.
And I like to start with bloom nutrients for rooting and stuff like that. That way, you're not burning any roots off with the nitrogen.
Well, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you,
what
you kind of get.
That's all.
think they
That's all
told-
the root. That's all the root mixes are. Is just a weakened down bloom nutrient.
Oh, I didn't know that. We don't. Thank you.
But you can still root in full strength nutrients. At least I've been able to. Just full strength nutrients in a flood and drain tray or in like a top drip bucket. It roots just fine. Sometimes they won't like grow roots if there's too much nutrients. And they'll just keep growing, but they won't grow any roots.
Gotcha.
So you kind of gotta watch the strength there for sure.
Yeah, I'm still feeding my cuttings bloom newts right now. I haven't gone to veg newts yet.
Yeah, but
I generally
usually
go by-
I'll feed the same amount of both A and B once they start growing good. And then
If
I'll
the
just
bag- Sorry.
like
if the
I
bag
don't
says,
think I ever get like during the end there I'll be double the amount of like bloom nutrients. But other than that, you kind of like just keep your nitrogen around 700 to 900 parts per million, and then the rest should be the bloom. So it works out pretty good. So
Sorry,
I
I was
don't have
muted.
any meters at all right now. So I don't know what part per million that my reservoir is at. I'm just going off of like the darkness of the water and the smell of it, and just by the looks of the plant.
Growing
Like
intuitively.
I haven't adjusted any pH except for this. I've adjusted the pH since I'm using different nutrients in this. But in this system, it stayed around 7.0, and I think it recently dropped to about 6.5.
Okay. I want to welcome the American one, and he has his grow up. So,
Hey, Dow.
how's it going, buddy?
Hello, everyone. Looking good, Sky.
Hey, Tao, you looking
Thank you.
good too, man.
Yeah,
Cheers.
there's a couple of them you can see. Like, yeah. See the discoloration?
Yeah.
And
Right?
yeah, a couple of them were in solo cups too long, and even the ones that weren't, they look good. But some of them even have that. I think it's
magnesium.
yeah. I think it was magnesium. I sprayed them with some Epsom salt. Because yeah, these girls over here were just kicking ass, taking names. I gotta top them all too and see what I'm gonna do with them all. But these there's like 6 of them that look like they're pretty much identical. Those are that lemon heat. What the fuck was it now? Lemon OG by Hayes got crossed with a male that was unknown, but I knew it wasn't hermaphrodite, so I kept the seeds, and they look good. And then these ones with a little bit of deficiencies was that Bruce Banner by Cheesequake guy. I left in the solo cups too long. These 3 too, I believe. Oh no, those I think I'm not sure what those are, but that one and this one here, you can see the yeah, they got a little bit unhappy.
Yeah, a little hungry.
Yeah, but they're all happy right now. Boy, I wouldn't say happy, but they're not unhappy. And then the ones are Godiva.
Nice.
So
Yeah, they look good, man.
that's what's happening over here. I said I would come on Wednesday. I saw it was getting late, so I figured I better jump quick.
Oh, well, I appreciate you coming on and giving us an update.
No worries.
I use those same pots. Those are 1 gallons, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess like they're not really gallons. Like I think they were called gallons, but
It's like 0.8 gallons or something.
I'm gonna start seeding these now. I'm not even gonna do the solo cup. I don't think, because these girls just filled right in just for having the solo cup up to now, more or less. And yeah, I gave them some Epsom salt, so hopefully
They'll bounce back.
On the watering thing. So I added some earthworm castings to my Pro Mix, and there was a time when I just wait for the Pro Mix to look dry, and I knew the plant was dry. But with the earthworm castings in there, the shit looked wet, and the shit was dry though. So be careful of that.
Okay. Yeah. So
You know what I mean?
earthworms
Yeah.
cast, yeah, gives it a darker look.
Darker
So
look,
it like
and-
stains the perlite and shit, makes it look
And
like it's wet.
It also has like a biofilm, which I guess keeps it. It's like not totally dried out, but I lifted up the thing. I was like, oh man, there's no water in it. So yeah.
There's a tip that I learned from Utah
man.
like years ago was to scrunch up that top layer of soil before you water, because it will make that biofilm kind of deal on there, and if it dries out, it becomes hydrophobic.
Yeah.
It also lets you see what's going on underneath. If you got like a really dry top layer and you water it, or if your media is really dry when you transplant, it'll look like it's wet on top, but it might not be all the way through.
Yep. Yep. I bent over a fork a couple times to like use as a baby rake to like get the top layer a little uncrusty. But that's like, yeah, with certain living soil, and if it gets to dry out quick on top, it'll make a dry, cracky, dry layer. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll create a channel for the water. It'll all run down one side or something.
Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Looking good, man.
Yeah, they look good.
Well, thank you.
Got that nice vibrant green.
I'm gonna spray with sulfur either probably tomorrow morning or tomorrow when I get at some point tomorrow. Where did I see it? I saw some damage somewhere. It might not be bugs, but
Shout out to Smart and Crispy. Take your light out of the tent when you spray sulfur.
That look like spider mites tail.
yeah. But it might be sometimes a weird deficiency will make this spotted too. But I see it again, like right here. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Them yellow spots. That speckling, mate.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't mistake that.
I think I might de-leaf a bunch of this here too. Somebody's out there like, why does he have all those leaves on? But yeah,
They look healthy.
I like the way they look. Yeah. But
yeah, no, I'd leave all the leaves on until they've finished the bolt.
And yeah, there's gonna be some boys amongst these, so I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't flip the flower or anything, but I gotta figure out. I gotta figure it out.
You gonna pull the males, or are you doing any breeding or anything?
I'm gonna
like
pull
that?
the males for this one, unless I'll probably pull all the males. I'm not gonna, I'll pull the males, but if I happen to see a special girl, maybe I'll keep her. I don't know.
Nice.
I guess I always will keep a special girl. If it's really special, I'll try anyway.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for the update.
No worries.
You're welcome to hang out, or if you got to run, we're almost done here. I guess we're down to the last 7 minutes.
Yeah. I'm
You're on about feeding seedlings in organic. Yeah. Generally, what you're looking at if you're using a pot or out of a bag, the bag will say it's got 4 weeks. But if you're feeding organic, you're going to want to start feeding before that, because it's going to take a little bit of time for that to break down. So that's where, you don't want to get to 4 weeks and you now got deficiency. That's, so sort of around about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then start introducing your feed slowly. So when you're at your 4 weeks in the rental, you've already got the plant acclimated to what you're now going to put in it. Sorry, that was it.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
That's good tips. Keep ahead of your feed schedule with top dressing, because it takes a little while to get that into the soil. So if the plant is yellow, it is way too late.
You're 2 weeks behind.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I guess we're down the last 6 minutes and we got 6 people here. So let's go around and do our final thoughts and shout outs. Let's start with the American one.
Sure. Shout out to you, Seed Person One, for picking up the reins. Shout out to Spot and Crispy. I hope they eavesdrop, and I hope they're still growing. I know that I didn't think they were going to stop, but they just didn't have time to. So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to everyone in chat. Shout out to the plant, and thanks everyone that comes on and shows their plants. I love seeing the plants. And peace out.
Thank you for coming on, and good to see you. And yeah, shout out to Swan Crispy. That's the only reason I'm doing this, is for give people the place to be. Not trying to grow a following or anything like that. Artman, would you like to tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure. Artman, 2 N's, 420 _ at Instagram. You can come over to Cocoa for Cannabis, find me there too. That'll do.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Sky Overhead, let us know where we can get some of those vegetable seeds.
Skyoverhead.com, and you can either email me or you can just shoot me an email. There's a link under the music there where you can donate your money through PayPal, or any way we can figure out to get you guys some seeds. I've been working with them for a long time, and I'm really proud of what I've done with them.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you, Seed Person, for giving us a spot to hang out, and thanks for the chat, and thanks to all the rest of you on the panel. I appreciate every one of you. Thanks for sharing all your grows, and they look great.
Thank you for sharing yours as well, and it looks great as well. Yeah, those are
Thanks.
heirloom variety from the community. So if you're gonna have a garden, that's a good place to get seeds. Jace, would you like to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, OKJace20. Shout out to chat. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks. Shout out to the panel. Nice grows going there, everybody. Tal's good to see you again. Nice to see you growing. And shout out to Steve Person. Thanks for hosting, man. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Jace. Isenai, last but not least, please let people know where they can find you.
Lurking somewhere in the dark places on the internet. But yeah, that's generally it. You'll catch me in the chats.
Excellent.
Cheers everyone. Thanks. I've enjoyed the chats.
It's always good to see you across the pond there, buddy. Yeah, thanks to everybody for coming. I thought I saw almost up to 40 people watching at one point. So good to know that there's people coming and hanging out, and we're not just talking into the void. I do really enjoy sharing grow advice and tips and things like that. I'm definitely not an expert. There's a lot more experienced people that are here. Everybody on the panel pretty much, has more knowledge than I do. So I just want to be giving us a place to come together and share that knowledge, because I'd say collectively, what do you think? We've got here probably almost 100 years worth of grow experience altogether, like on the panel, maybe close
More
to
than that.
60 to 100. I don't know. A lot of time that people here have been growing, a lot more than I have for sure. So it's everybody else that comes and makes it worth doing it. And yeah, cheers to the chat. It's good to see everybody. And I'm seedperson1 on Instagram, or seedperson1@gmail.com, and we're going to be doing another live show on Sunday at noon. So I hope to see everybody there. I will talk to y'all later, and grow or love.